So, welcome everybody. I have your agreement that I can record that, and you can switch off yourself when you not want to get recorded. This idea with virtual meetings came up, of course, just when all this blockings of our individual freedom happens all over the world. And I was a long time struggling with it, and I tried to find a relationship to it. And as you see, I do it now for you, for those who would like to have some kind of such a contact. And I have done now in the last 2 weeks something with that, and it is, I have to say, really an experience in a in a way what is worth also to explore on one side. I think that it will come up that such things will happen more and more in future. But what are we doing then? Can we develop a consciousness about it? And can we then consciously work with such things more and more? This is my question. Not stepping blind into that kind of a fascination, what it has in the beginning, and following it blindly. There are some positive moments with it. That's no question. But there are also a lot of other open questions. And I came to one point, what I would like to express in the beginning, not to make it as a morality or as an opinion. I want that you have to think in the same way. I only want to share to you my thoughts about it. It was an experience now. I had done some of the online teachings and conversations with the therapy group and now with the Moscow group and teaching, and with the Los Angeles people there one time. And then I had just 2 days, a real rehearsal again. And it is unbelievable, I tell you. It makes it much more stronger to experience it after these virtual things, what it is to be with a real person in a rehearsal space and to work together. It is amazing. It is a really refreshing experience to see, oh my God, what do we have there? That we can meet in real, and that we can touch each other, even it is forbidden, that we can meet, that we can see the other, that we have instant real connection to someone else. This is amazing. And I had these thoughts before. I was expressing it on Tuesday evening to the Moscow group. What is it what we are missing here in this meeting? It is not to blame it, but it's just to become aware of it. We are missing to meet with our highest sense the other individuality in this real way. We can substitute, I think that's a word, we can substitute this missing link through our concentration and thinking, to someone else. And especially when we know such a person, then it's a bit easier to try to connect through your open mind to someone's individuality. When you don't know the person, you see only this screen, this little one or the big one when they speak and when it is changing. It is just a question. Ask yourself for exploration. It's very important for our acting. What do I meet? And how does it feel after such a meeting? For me, how do I remember? What is it what I remember and how? How does it feel to have, maybe I remember the name, or you make a screenshot of that tableau so that you can remember the names of the people who has been there. But what is it what you have there? And you may sense even that is a huge difference to a photo you make of a friend when you have a walk with a friend, and you make a photo and then you look to that photo afterwards. Just a question. It's a very interesting training element. This is one, what we are missing. Another very important point is we can't touch each other. Do you remember how it is when one meets with a group? What happens there? And there's, even it is a shaking hands, and even it is the shaking hands with a person you don't like so much, really. Or in this not so positive way, you don't go too close to the person, but why are you not going there? Because you have a real sense of something. And the others, we don't touch each other. This is a very important sense, the sense of touching. What gives it touching sense us? The touching sense gives us what? The feeling of myself. So the touching sense, I sense, here is my border. This is me, here I am. And so the touching sense, with a movement, then I come to silence something outside with my mind, the combination. But the touching sense itself gives me an echo to myself. We can substitute that by, when you have had such meetings, maybe with other people, you see, then they are, I don't mean you now, they are sitting sometimes in this way or leaning back, holding themselves, and then with the touching oneself, one get sure, here I am. This is a kind of substitute, but in the way when we meet the other, then we have with a movement in this shaking hands, with the embracing, with the touching, we have both. Here I am and I meet someone, and with my sense of I, of the other individuality, I sense you. When you remember this embracing, I don't want to make it too big thing now, but you don't see the person, but you sense, and something floats between you, you know. And this we are missing, even in that meeting. And one of the very important points is we are missing to have the same air. Can you imagine? You have the air of your space now, where you are. When we meet together in a room, inhaling, exhaling, we have all the time with such a group. We breathe in the air of the others and we give our air to the others. It's a very intimate process. This is for social life so important. It's not for social life only so important. It is also very important for the theater. We know that. The breathing of the actor on stage is influencing the breathing of the audience. And this we are missing. This kind of very subtle, not with a normal daily life senses in this way, sensing as something what it is worth. To sense it, we are most focused with the seeing and hearing. To the seeing and hearing. But with that, this is something what we're missing. There's really a kind of sharing something real with each other. These three things I only wanted to point out. There is something else. But just to see also how wonderful it is that we can meet in real. And you will always maybe sense it again now when you have, everybody has some real meetings in your area. That's quite clear. But when we have such meetings for a training or something, this is really something special. What happens there? The other things with the speech and breathing and the words and the intuition and how we are connected through the same. There are some substitutes possible with our thinking, with our concentration, that we can try to reach out in this world of thought, let's say. Okay, that was my little pre-word. I would like then, in the end, give you out of that a kind of a suggestion for a training. It is just not that I want push you that you have to do anything. It's just that who has a question can work with it, can take it, and if not, then feel absolutely free. Yeah, it is just for all of us an experience and trying out and finding a way through that crazy times to connect, reconnect, to stay in contact, to try to develop something, especially also with our imagination and concentration, what goes beyond this crazy time. So that we can do something. Okay, come on. Of course, I would like that we cross the threshold, and maybe these people here now, they can do it just for yourself. I don't need to lead you. Maybe you can find the way that you cross the threshold in such a even imaginary space of being with the others. You have a little bit heard America, England, Ireland, Russia, Karelia. So spread out a little bit, try to step in such an imaginary space, but special for your creative acting space. Okay. Okay, across the threshold for yourself for a moment. Well, everybody maybe has found it. We have our center in the chest, and let's start just a little bit for such a widening movement and contracting movement. Play freely for yourself. And when you do that now, give the impulses from the center in the chest. just refreshing this sensation. And then you find yourself back at a clear standing position. And from the center and chest, you have this connection to the chest area, to the arms and fingers, just as a little repeating, and through your lower body to the legs and feet. And through your head, so that you have this 5-star. Yeah. Sensing from here the 5-star. That you have try to find again and again the sense for your movements. You move with a 5-star. That the movement of your arm has a connection to the movement of your feet. That the movement of your feet, you sense also an impulse in your arms and fingers, even in your head. Okay. What is the theme? The theme is a little bit funny for today. And it is, on one hand, a reminder, and for some people here in this group now, we haven't done it before. From the center in the chest, there is the impulse for the movement. And we would try now, do a very simple, not conscious movement in this way. You do a movement, a very clear movement with a beginning and an end. And when you have done it, and this is a point, do only one, imagine it. Do another one. Can you imagine it? How was it? Do another one. Try out one more. Do a movement, and afterwards imagine what you have done. Okay. There may be arising the question, where do I imagine it? Shall I imagine it in my head? No. Shall I imagine it not connected with my body? No. Shall I imagine my body moving here? Maybe. I would say no. Because the imagination of the movement is not anymore your, let's hear now my green arm. Just something is moving here with my imagination. I can imagine what, so I can let it go, but I can imagine there is such a movement possible. It is connected with my body. It goes into the space. It has maybe something like a shape of my body, but I don't try to see my body now. Here. Try to imagine the movement. Can you Can you follow this with that task? Can you understand that? Please try out, give you 1 moment more for that. Okay, let's say this is one bit what one can explore. Yeah, in this way of teaching, it is a trying out that I give you a bit and this could maybe later on I can go with it and try to explore it more. Maybe you have now a first experience with it. Do that not only with the arm, do it with one movement of the feet. Play a little bit around, movement of the feet, legs, movement with the head, movement with the full body. 5 more movements now. There. Just, can I imagine it afterwards? Okay. Would like to hear is it basically something you can explore? Can you basically sense something with it? Yeah, switch on your microphone or show me with your hand or good. Okay. I'm sure it is possible to explore more and more with it. It's very funny. It's very nice. It's a nice experience. Now it is what I would like to do. We have 3 steps for today. I would go just the opposite way. You imagine a movement outgoing from your body with one part of your body. Take it easy. And when you have imagined it, then you do it. Yeah. Okay. I switch here this one. Yeah. Make it simple. Do it with the legs, feet also, and maybe then you can do it with a full body. Play a little bit with that. I give you 2 minutes for it. Okay. Is that possible? Yeah. So forgive me, it is at least, everything is very simple. What is the effect of both together? Do you sense something for yourself in the body? Is there any kind of a echo out of that in this short, very short moments? Some experiences. Yes,
Yeah,
no.
for example, I want to say that when the first time, when it's about doing the movement and afterwards imagine it, right? Over there it was fine, like to imagine the whole movement, right? But when it was all the other way around, I have to tell myself, okay, wait, imagine the whole movement before you start moving and doing it. So it was easier to finish the second movement. I mean, like on my imagination. Once that I've done it physically, it was easier to continue and finish that. But when I was okay, you can do it. So wait, next time, do the whole movement and then move. So it was just the kind of thing that happened to me.
Okay. Other impressions or questions or?
It's different sense. Different because when you're done movement and after you're thinking about what I've done, and it's different when you imagine this and then you do it, and it's near your mood, because when you imagine this, you have mood in this movement. For me, I don't know.
Okay.
Is it good?
For me, it was very interesting, the second one, because when I imagine the movement and start immediately the movement after, and same as the Maria a little bit, because I'm realized I'm too fast for follow the imagination with movement. This is the first thing. I was a little bit slower after the 1 or 2 movement. The second one, it's a second when we do the imagination before we do the act. It was very, very deep sensing for me, because it was very concrete. I know what I want to do in the next movement, and the reflecting to this movement, it was very hard, and I understand what I did in this movement. And the third one, all the time I imagine a movement, and I couldn't be able to do the same thing every time, and do a little bit different or more when was my imagination before. It is very interesting for me, because I'm imagine a short movement, and I sometimes give some extra things this movement when I do this act. It is very interesting for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, with me, I'm here. With me, it was like when I imagine first and then do. I kind of want to, when I'm doing that, I think, oh, it could be done better. And I want to continue this movement and do not exactly what I had imagined before. So with me, experimenting on this was rather keeping within the limits of this imagination I had, of this image I had, and to make this movement exactly the way I had I imagined, no more. So that was the challenge. In most parts, that was the challenge. Not to improve what you are doing, not to improve meanwhile.
Okay, yeah.
For me, it was a really nice reminder. I like the idea that all possible movements exist always. So all movement possibilities exist all the time, and so we're kind of entering into them. Does that make sense? It's like every movement exists in the space around us. And so we're kind of visiting that in both directions. So either we move first and then we see the echo of the movement, or we see the echo of the movement first and then we step into it. But those movement echoes are always there.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. It is very simple, and I think, on the other hand, it is very impressive. It can become more and more impressive, especially when you now develop it. And let's say we do that next time, when one is developing it to action and a gesture. So there is a clear intention involved in it, and then we add also a clear quality consciously with the action and with a gesture. And there's also the possibility to do it and then imagine it, and the other way around, imagine it and fulfill it, do it. And there are then the possibilities to have more complex movements, as walking 3 steps and sit down, imagine first and do. At least I would like to give that as an exploration, as a kind of a homework to experiment with that. This takes 5 minutes per day, nothing more, just every day, this and try it out. And let's see if you come back next week that you can, what you experienced, what happens to you in this way. I had in mind to do it today, but I see the time is going, and I don't want to make it too long then and not overlap. And I think it's a very good starting point for that now. A little little experiment with that together is 5 minutes, a bit in a little different direction, but has to do also with that we sense our movement with the center and the chest. I would like, when you sit very comfortable, freely a little bit, and just moving, I will show it here. That's a little bit funny then. I will stand and show it. You just move when you sit, then you have somewhere your hands, and you move only your hand. But moving your hand, you move it with a sense through the center and the chest, that the movement of your hand, the gesture of your hand, has always an echo in your toes and in your other hand, and has a little echo in your head. Try to sense it. Be very careful. Do it very easily. Center and the chest connecting. And here is an interesting thing. You will get a few seconds more, that you not look to your hands. But you do a movement, and can you imagine the gesture of the hand? Can you have an impression? Can you see that then? Do you sense the beginning point and the end point? Is there a sense for that movement, like an image-like? The sense for that is image-like. It's so, we step in such a subtle space there, but I can imagine you will understand. Try it maybe with one hand and then with the other, few seconds, for a few moments. Is it okay? Yeah? Is that something what is possible? Do you sense some echo in your body? Of course, you will sense, I think. And for a kind of an experiment, I would like one of you to come closer to the camera, but don't show your hands. Who would like to do that? So that we see the face.
What to do?
Who?
What to do?
Yeah, show us your face. Can you make that in this way? And look into the camera to us. Yeah. Everybody has the speaker view. Can everybody see her? And look to us very in this way free, and do one strong or one gesture with your one movement as a gesture with your fingers. We don't want to see the hand. Use the other hand. We don't want to see it. Oh no, Kareli, no. Okay. I would like that we not see your hand. Yeah, that the hand is off, that we only have your face. And you do a very clear gesture with your hand.
Who?
You.
Oh, you're talking with me? My
Yes.
God. Oh my God. This is sorry, I don't understand. Okay, I should see a camera and you don't see my hands, but you should see my eyes. Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, very nice. Did something happen to the others? Could you see her in the speaker view? Difficult.
Difficult.
Yes, there was movement, even though we weren't seeing the movement, but in her eyes, in her face, something was happening. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to try it?
I try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I will put you there. Okay. Did you sense something? Did you see something?
Of course.
Even when Maria is now in this position, yeah, stay in this position and do with the hand for the hand a big movement. One hand, what we not see are seeing. And give that movement the quality of a gesture. It means something. Okay. Yeah. Was something to see for you? It's an experiment. Yes, no, or would you be interested to explore that more later, maybe?
Yes.
It's in the center.
Okay, that was also one bit of the possibility what I would like to suggest for a 3 minutes training for yourself, if you like. Develop every day 3-5 minutes to have this connection that you move only your hand, but you sense this reaction in your full body. You sense also it in the toes, what you're doing in the hand, so that you can create with your hands gestures, of course, gestures of expansion, gestures of contraction, gestures of pointing, gestures of pulling gestures, or grasping, and so on and so on, as a quality when it is connected with the center in the chest and connected to your full body, as a quality is good for an expression, let's say for feeling or such things. It gives you a subtle expression in your face. It can also create a strong expression on stage. You have only such a gesture and you let it happen, then it is radiating through your full body, this little movement. Just as a suggestion for that. Yeah, Claire, switch on your.
Yes.
Do you mean, Joerg, then to do these movements, like a small movement, like say, okay, right, you're seeing my hand, so like a point, okay, and I'm feeling this in the body, okay, from the center in the chest. So this is just doing a movement, but do you then mean to add a quality to this movement so it is then influencing you in a different way? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It is more than a movement then, but training for the first time with a movement, sense that one can sense it, and then to develop it to a gesture with the hand. Yeah, with the intention in it, and with a later on also intention and quality, it comes very much together then. Yeah, so that's the subtle thing for today with center chest and movement. Roana, yes.
I have a question about so you don't want us to practice this with a camera, right?
No, I don't mean it now special for the camera, but you can use it for it.
But I just wonder what your advice is. So I've never worked with a camera. So the experience of looking at something that's so close to my face, imaginatively, what do you suggest so that the expansion doesn't, or the gesture doesn't kind of stop there?
I didn't get the question now, sorry.
How do we deal with the fact that you're staring at an object when you want to be making a gesture that's going all the way to the horizon? Do you have a tip?
Yes, this is good question. This has to do with that what we tried before, that I can imagine my movement. And then I can also do these movements, what I do in the psychophysical training, with radiation, that it radiates through the movement and goes into the space. And even that I've done. Now imagine it. And it goes also with my imagination from here to the physical direction, and then it goes further into the space. And you can, even with the fingers, hands, I have to, the mirroring, you do that, and you have also the sense with your imagination that you radiate here. That then it's bigger.
But now that while you're demonstrating, you're not looking into the camera.
No, I just was irritated with my own camera things. It's definitely changing. Yeah, so I can do that. I have to do that, and I can do that also invisible. Yeah, with a hand.
Okay, thank you.
But sorry, do you then mean for us to be watching ourselves to see it? I don't know, is that what you mean, Roana, that you're watching yourself to see
No,
the change?
hopefully not. Please
No?
don't do. That's too crazy.
Okay.
I only want just, that was only that maybe there is a, you can sense the expressions through that. And I will prepare that we can make it maybe next time we repeat that experience. yeah, so that one can see there is an effect. Because when you do it for yourself, you don't see the effect. Yeah, when you do it as your training, as your experience for yourself. And I don't want that you do that for your camera, for yourself. That's crazy. I wouldn't say do that. But that as an experiment, that someone is doing it and the other are seeing that now here, it's maybe it's interesting. You can, when you have your real partner, then you can also do that with a real partner. The partner is doing such a imaginary gesture, and you connect to the partner and you try to see, to sense what happens there. Is there something what happens? That's the meaning. I hope it's clear. Oh my God. Good. We come close to the time, what is over, but I wanted to have a second part of the sessions, and I would like to open it for a few minutes. And this second part, in this 1 hour, half an hour, I would like to do some training. That was now too long, sorry for that. And the second part, also around half an hour, should be time for questions. Questions you got through your practice, through your work, or you are just involved with to work with something, and so that we have a kind of an open space for some questions, and we could help each other to answer these questions. And maybe this is now, when you have heard it now, also a possibility to prepare such a question for the next time.
For the homework exercise from the movement and the echo, or the echo and the movement, you're saying to do that for 5 minutes a day, or something like this. Are you looking for us just to explore that, or is there some progression to add in over the days, or?
Yeah, I will write down this exercise also, but I will speak about it now, about this training suggestion. Because there are two, and this understanding of that, what I try out with these things. The first one is that we have done a little bit with doing a movement and imagine afterwards. Then imagine a movement and fulfill it. That's step one. Then step two, do a gesture, do an action. Very simple first. And afterward, imagine how you have done the action. There's an interesting new step in it, because any action goes into the space. And you have then to find out how you can imagine this action you have done in the space in relation to you. And this is an action, a gesture. Do it and imagine it afterwards. Maybe taking a cup of coffee and imagine it afterwards. How you have done it. And in this how, with a gesture and with a action, there is mostly connected also a quality with it. Can you re-sense it? And then the same also, first imagine it. Imagine to take this cup of coffee or the glass and then do it. And there's an interesting point. What was it Daria? No, who was it who was asking that? That you can make that more fulfilled as you imagine. Yeah, Daria.
That was my my observation.
This is a very nice trying out, because by imagine it first and then doing it, then you have two possibilities: to change your imagination of it, or to change or develop your business in the direction of the imagination. Ideal would be, but you know, it's living, it's just for fun. That you can imagine it very much in detail, even when you imagine, okay, I reach out in this way. And can I imagine that here? Have I imagined it? Have I imagined that? Is that clear? Yeah, that. Okay, how have I done it? But now when I do it with this video thing, don't do it with your video. Don't control you with a video. Don't control you with a mirror. That's not good. I feel it's not good. It just, you have to do it only you imagine. And do it. And can you sense, was it in the direction? What was not clear in your mind? What was not clear in your movement? Do it only 3 times with one gesture. Done. Next day, other. Don't over train yourself. I call that a homeopathic training. Homeopathic training. It's amazing, I tell you. Do that with such gestures. This experimenting through the time, you have 7 days or you have 6 days because Sunday you take off. And do it every day, 5 minutes with this exploring movement. Do the movement, do the gesture, imagine it afterwards. Then the other way around, imagine the movement, imagine the gesture, and fulfill it. And then next day again, and next day again. It's very funny. You have done something, and you will see how it speaks to you after this 7 days. Do you feel you have done something, or do you feel you are lazy? No, you will feel very, very happy with yourself, even when it is only 5 to 10 minutes a day. Yeah. This gives you the possibility in the homeopathic training to do something else also in 5 minutes. But continue that in the next day. You have to develop it through the next time. That's maybe sometimes the most difficult thing, that you stay in stream. To do it minimum 3 times.
Joerg?
Yeah.
I have a question about, are you able to expand upon imagining?
Yeah.
How that works through your body and mind together?
Mm-hmm. I can imagine, it's not a direct answer now, forgive me. You will explore something when you do it. And I could speak a lot of words about that, but I feel not so sure that it would help. To explore what does it mean with this imagining a movement and imagining a gesture, and when does it happen that one is imagining oneself doing it. It is what kind of images we are working there. What is this quality of this imagining. And I found it very helpful, just what we have done today, with I do a movement and then I try to see it. And what do I see? How do I see? How can I imagine that movement in this space? What is the quality of that seeing? Or because I don't see, I imagine it. How can I imagine it? That it is radiating from here, laying the arm, going there, laying the arm, going there. This to explore what kind of imagining it is. And then the same for the other way around. Imagine it, see it in outgoing from you into the space. When your full body is walking, see your full body. What do you see? How do you imagine it? This is when we are in class, then we can more easy to discuss it. Yeah. And just do afterwards one time more in a different way, this way and this way, how one has experienced. I would ask you, it is a wonderful question, to try out and become a researcher, become an explorer for all that things. It's all about exploring. It's not too fulfilling. Just develop an interest. How can I become curious? Is it curious about it? How can I find, what happens there? How can I imagine it? How can I make it? Yeah, because it's just in the field, we touch a field, what is beyond the purely visible. It's beyond the purely memorized pictures. It's a different layer. I hope it's a little bit what you can take from that. Yes, no.
Yeah.
We will
Yes,
see.
very much so.
Try out. Let's talk about that later on. That leads to a second little exercise. This is an imagination exercise, and it is also nicely has to do with. It's connected with that. You can choose whatever you would like. I speak now about a little branch with a bud and with outcoming leaves. I don't know how the weather is in your area. Maybe you have all trees are now in leaves or whatever. You find one part of such how it is developed. You observe it. Then after the observing, you try to imagine how will it look like tomorrow. What happens until tomorrow with it? And next day, you look at it. And then we have the same thing. Has it developed in this way as you have imagined? Then you are great. If it not have developed in the way as you had imagined, you are also great, because now you can change your imagination. Through your observation, you change your imagination and you try to redo it, is it a word, yesterday image to that how you see it now. Maybe it was very little, nothing, but in spring it's so amazing what happens overnight. And so through all the next 5-6 days, what is the aim of that exercise? It develops a kind of sense for the truthfulness of your imagination. Can you understand this idea? Yeah.
Yes.
That your imagination can get related to the reality. This is at least a very important thing when we become more and more able to have a clear understanding, truthful understanding of our imagination, that we trust our imagination, that it can be truthful. It is also, it's very enjoyable. It takes also not 5 minutes. Sometimes when you then are there in front of such a nature subject and you imagine it, then you find after 15 minutes you find yourself, oh, I was all the time connected with it, I was so much involved in it. Okay, that's not bad, but don't try to make it too long in this way from your impulse. Just observing, not looking at it, purely imagination. I can imagine it. How will it be tomorrow? How can I imagine it is moving overnight? I don't see the movement. I can never see the movement. But how can I imagine where it does goes to? Okay. Next day I look. Prove it. And then I go back and try to make the movement. And then I say, okay, I see it today in this way. How will it be tomorrow? So just for fun. If you like, these are two things. One is with your movement of your body and the imagination this way, and the other is with an outer object, with a nature. Relate your imagination to that what you really can observe. Okay. Anybody would like to say something?
I would. Just in terms of, there's a feeling, and this is the internet, so, I have no idea. But I know where a lot of us are sort of starved of, as you were saying, contact with each other and physical contact with people and all of that. So there's a sense in me, and even though I only know a few of you, there's a sense in me of, from this evening, of a kind of a, I don't know if it's a flatness or a shyness, I'm not sure, in the group. And I wonder if me or somebody naming that might help with that, in us kind of making a connection with each other, that would be, that we, it's sort of like, I feel like saying, oh, can we all meet again and get to know each other or something? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it very much realized, this kind of shyness.
Yeah.
In many of the sessions, and it happened again and again and again. And I think we should allow ourselves to have that and to sense it, because we are not connected, and we feel a little bit subconsciously absolutely isolated from the other. And this has to do with our, in Chekhov terms, with our personal atmosphere. We are not connecting with our personal atmosphere to each other. And this makes me, I have there's no real.
Because I have this feeling I want to reach out and touch you, Levente.
And we know we can't. And this makes, it pushed me back. This is a very interesting observation I made when I was looking to that sessions afterwards. And this is a question you can do it for yourself. How do you feel afterwards? What do you look at it? What happens there? To you, how can we manage it? How can we become aware of it? And how can one learn not to get stuck in it? And how can one try to overcome it in a way, or not let it too deep influence oneself? It is, sorry for that, I feel it is a little bit unhealthy, this kind of communication, because it is isolating us from each other. The tendency is isolating for real. The real tendency is isolating. We have the illusion to be connected. But I don't want to make here such a media critical observation of the media, but it is a great chance to also to take it as a phenomena and try to ask oneself and try to study and try to find how can I prepare myself to not get lost through that. It's a question. I think it's a question. I don't want say that I have any answer in this way. I'm just experimenting and exploring it on my own. I have some experiences, but not in the end. Not finished now. So, hi everybody. And let's say we finish it for today. Levente, what? Nothing.
I'm only show my hand for say goodbye or something else. Not I want to say something else.
Yeah, I would like also to finish. That's all together now 1.5 hours. This is enough. Yeah, and it's also hard enough. We meet, if you like, next Thursday again, and you are also very much invited on the Tuesday meetings with a Moscow group, with the Russian people. There it is a little bit longer because of the translation, and you hear a lot of Russian. Maybe when you are learning Russian, you have a good experience to develop it a little bit. So you are invited also for this Tuesday things. All the 6 meetings, I have created them as connected as all the 6, but they are also connected. Only the 3 Russian and only this 3 on Thursday. They have a kind of connection, and we will continue next Thursday with this way. Please have in mind, it's absolutely free. Don't worry if you not feel, oh, now again, Zoom meeting next week. Don't worry, nobody will blame you. You are free. Have fun with that and explore when you would like to do some exercises. Simply for exploration. Explore. Give you the thing. I would like to explore something. Make your notes and we can come to your questions next time if you would like to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank you, Joerg.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.